Let's start the stream.
The dream.
Is to start the stream. Hey everybody, Chris Courtney here. New Pragmatic. It's the day after Memorial Day, which means it's Tuesday. Just getting things underway.
Waiting for CouchBot to fire. As you probably noticed, if you watch the early version,
if you watch the live stream and then you watch the later one, you'll notice I clip all this stuff out. And mainly it's just trying to make sure that the folks that are over there on the Discord channel get the alert. It isn't intended for this portion or this live stream to exist into perpetuity. The interesting thing today is that it's pretty light day. We had a really busy day for coming out of a weekend going into a holiday. I was actually surprised to see as many submissions as we had yesterday. Today, coming out of a proper holiday, always really slow. And we've got one submission from Rebecca, really more case study oriented. And it's interesting because I'm beginning to turn my attention to the career exercises. You might have gotten the email blast this morning talking about what are we going to be working on in the weeks and months ahead, and a lot of that, frankly, is going to be focused on career and front end, and So what does that mean? Well, with career, the exercises are going to be focused around interviewing and whiteboarding and getting your resume and writing your about page and cleaning up your LinkedIn, all those things that are pretty important, networking tips, things like that. And I've talked with all of you about most of those things, but they don't exist currently in a written form, like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, mainly because I've been focused on all this other stuff. Do you know we have 59 design exercises right now in the program? It's like, wow, how do we get to 59? And then I can think of like 40 that aren't there. I can think of 40 that I want to add, like just right now. I just want to snap my fingers and have them in there.
Looks like the live stream is up and going.
So thank you, CouchBot. I appreciate you playing along. So let's turn this up a notch and get this underway. Hey, one and all. Hey everybody, Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop, where I answer your messages very slowly. It's a slow, laid back day after a holiday, and we're just gonna jump in and see what we've got. I know
Rebecca's submitted some work. Sometimes there are more submissions
that follow. So we'll take a look at that. I rarely see a lot of submissions after a holiday. It's like everybody just like chills out. So we may have a very slow ramp back up into this week, which just means like Friday's going to be nuts. Like everything is going to continue build, and then like everybody's going to like cluster in on Friday, which is fine. However, this is a flexible program. We move it. You move at your own speed. Some people, like Chelsea is like launched out of a cannon. And Katie's been the same way. So and others, you're working at your own speed, and that's cool. We're cool with that. Rebecca's here every day. Rebecca's working on something every day, and probably the best hustler in the entire group. If I had to give a hustle award, it'd go to Rebecca. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's get this underway. Rebecca specifically is asking some questions about her My Click Shift case study, and this follows the mold of the case studies that she has created to date. So she's got this My Click Shift site obviously you want to clean that up. This sort of type there, but she wasn't even asking about that. What she was asking about was on down here. She had some questions here. Should I link to the original marketing video, or is it relevant because it isn't my work? I would, if it is pertinent to. So let's see here. The app owner had one large client, a nursing home chain. He found himself spending a lot of money on storage and upkeep with them. Internal politics chain. That's when the app owner approached me to do the initial competitive research on a new set of users. I was asked to research the products. So, original marketing video, I wouldn't like list it here in the same way that you. I think it has value, but I wouldn't list it in your case study as you do some of the other assets. Like, I don't know if you don't have the other assets. So typically in your other case studies, so if I go to CareSite, so CareSite, you've got, it looks like down here there might be one. So see failed solutions. So you've got a link to some of the things that you didn't end up using. You've also got, the project overview. You've got a certain style that you use for additional assets that you've created. And this is the first time I've actually seen you use that style. Like here, you've got read case study, although this is the case study, so I'm a little thrown off. But I wouldn't use this view original marketing video in that style. I would just like make a normal link to it. When the app owner approached me about their application, or you can highlight whatever words you want to and make them a link, underline them, whatever. But I wouldn't use the big button. I'd reserve the big button for anything that you've produced. Okay, and that would, if you're watching this and you're wondering, oh, Chris wants me to put a big button on my site. No, not actually. That only works for Rebecca's site. If you're doing something, and if you have a big button on your site that you use in that manner, fantastic. But otherwise, use what is appropriate for your site. Like, each of you should have your own style. You should be moving in your own directions. Now down here, you have some logos here for your competition. You were doing competitive analysis for the case study, and you've got Kronos, Workday, and Ultimate Software. People first. When you think about this, when you think about what to put into your case study about your competition, it could be, I've had people honestly just show the logos, like, small, like 1, 2, 3, like just pretend, and the logos are up here, and this information's down here, and this is basically a summary of all three. I've seen that happen. I've also seen it. I've seen where people will use this to talk about the overall strength of each competitor. Like, Kronos does X, Y, and Z very well. Workday specializes in this other thing. Ultimate is the cheapest option in the space, and targets economy-based users or value users. And then I've also seen it break down the other way, where they talk about the flaws. The flaws with Kronos are, it's very complicated. It takes a lot of onboarding to get clients utilizing the service. Workday, but Kronos also is very expansive and can meet the needs once you get people once you get people onboarded. Workday is very easy for onboarding, but it has a limited product scope. So it's like one's big and very flexible. The other one's very flexible but very hard to use. The other one's very easy to use, but it virtually has no tool really to it. It's just like does a couple of things. So, and again, I have no idea what Kronos or Workday does. I have not done that competitive analysis, so I'm not telling you what to write there. The one thing I am telling you though is whatever you write, if you decide to take it down the path of strength or weaknesses, I'm not saying strength, or if you did strengths and weaknesses of each, which that I think would get kind of long. Whatever you opt to do, make sure that it is consistent from one to the next. So whatever tone that you write about Kronos, you want to hit that same tone with Workday and Ultimate Software, whether you are talking about how great they are, what their flaws are, an overall summary. You want that same tone for each of those. All right, and when we look at you also included. Oh, hey, there I am. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find. Maybe I can find the internet. There it is. It was hiding. All right. Hey, internets. You included your SWOT analysis here, and so this is kind of a take on like media analysis. You're finding information about the space from external resources. So that's fine. But down here you've got Kronos and when it was founded. Originally a manufacturer of time clocks. Punch clock people to engaged employees. 3,400 companies. That's kind of interesting. I'd be interested. Like Kronos is most often used by companies with 1,000 to 5,000 employees. Kronos owns the hospital and healthcare industry. Like these are plans to use AI to improve labor forecasting and workforce plans. Constantly innovating, planning for the future. Potentially overwhelming for small businesses. Yeah, you've got all the data that I think you need here. I like knowing, it's a software service, so sold as a SaaS model, per employee per month subscription. UltiPro is considered an all-in-one HR system. Workday, 100 million users worldwide. That's interesting. Not sure what this cam card thing is, if how it relates to Workday. Workday customers include in mid-sized to enterprise. Like there are some things that I like to see in here, and one is who their primary customers are. I like to see like one is really focused on the healthcare industry. The other one appears, you couldn't get more different from Airbnb, Netflix, AAA, National Geographic, Panera Bread. It's kind of just Workday has a broad audience, but tends to focus on mid-sized to large enterprises. People at business folks that travel a lot. I do think that how much do these services cost? Like you point out that Workday is not suitable for a small company, which I think is excellent to know, because you're giving me a picture that whatever my click shift is trying to do, it wants to basically avoid going head to head with a Kronos or a Workday. It wants to potentially target clients that aren't in that gigantic pot where the competition is hot, and that's where, when you look at your competition and you go, okay, it's really crowded in that upper tier or that mid tier. You can begin to position your client or your project into the right space. And when you look back at, well, what do we write here? What do we write into this space? And I think it might be about positioning. Okay, Kronos, Workday, Ultimate are all mid to large enterprise software platforms. And when you think about it from that perspective, this might be something that you write primarily. You might write primarily about it in a paragraph, and then you like list the logos up top. So I don't necessarily know if you have to list like a paragraph for each. It seems like this is a situation where you could bucket the three together and talk about the three main players are, and these companies own the vast majority of the mid to large size enterprise business that's out there. They charge X. They're not really appropriate for a company smaller than blah. Okay, you do that, and I think this is pretty strong because this really is it's one of those situations where you have all the work. You want to. I'm just going to move that over. You want to definitely link to your competitive analysis so people can read the whole thing. But I think that what I would do here is I would write about these as a group of companies and not get so much into what Kronos does versus Workday versus Ultimate, because again, you can link to that, and I think that having that file as something you can point to is very
powerful. And guess what, folks?
Like I said, it's a very light morning. So I'm going to bounce out of this, and you know what? We got videos to make. I got a whole list of things that need to get done today. So, and I've got a couple of meetings coming up. I see Melanie on the schedule. So, without further ado, I'm gonna wrap this baby up and get to work. I'm Chris Courtney. This is New Pragmatic's Feedback Loop, and I will chat with all of you again on Wednesday. See ya.